What if I told you that everything you're about to see was never actually shot? So in my last episode, I broke down how I went from a simple idea called the Blaxpat, which then turned into a Cannes award-winning web series using Adobe Firefly and Express. This is part 2 out of 3, so make sure to check out episode 1 to see where this whole story starts, and please subscribe so you don't miss the finale. Today in episode 2, I'm walking you through my actual workflow. Let's get into it. Season 2, episode 1 of the Blaxpat opens with a recap. So just a very quick, quirky retelling of everything that happened in season 1 before we jump back into the story. It's very fast-pacing, a little chaotic. The problem is that half of what I wanted to show in that recap, I straight up just did not have footage for. Just not being able to be a part of multiple cities, wrong season, wrong building, lighting for continuity, it was a lot. So instead of cutting the ambition down to match the footage, I used Firefly to build the footage up to match the ambition. The tone that I wanted for season 2 was just very quirky, like a little heightened, almost animated mixed media format. I wanted it to feel like it belonged in the movie Amélie, but I obviously don't have that type of budget. So I used Firefly to restyle the background of my kitchen. I added some mise en scène, I shifted the color grade, I added some texture and a slightly illustrated, stylized quality to the space. The environment is where Firefly does the work. And practically, this meant that I did not need a Parisian apartment. I didn't need a location scout or spend a single euro for another set. I just needed the kitchen that I'm in right now and about 20 minutes. So shout out to Firefly. Okay, so now let's turn London into Brooklyn. So I had original footage of my actual self on the Tower Bridge in London. For the story, I needed that to read as the Brooklyn Bridge in New York. So different skyline, different energy, different city entirely. Firefly rebuilt that background architecture so that the same footage of me now reads as New York. So this shot needed to transform into an actual outdoor party scene. And then I went a step further and added characters that never really existed in the original footage at all. So I call this guy the Red Coat. He was built entirely as an AI-generated animation sequence person layered into this scene to help push the recap story forward. And that's the difference between using AI to patch a gap of real footage and actually using it to actually write new story beats. This British guy is a narrative device that I could only build because of generative tools like Firefly. So pipeline-wise, here's how that actually worked. I started in Nano Banana Pro for the initial image generation and character concepting. I brought that into Firefly for the scene integration and animation, and then I assembled everything in Premiere Pro for final edit and pasting. Next was the cathedral. So I filmed the exterior in real life because that's all that I was permitted to shoot. There's no cameras allowed inside. So for the scene that needed to happen inside the church, I used Firefly to generate the interior and then integrated that with my original footage. And this one's less about the budget and more about access, right? Like some locations will never say yes no matter what you offer them. So Firefly turned a location restriction into a non-issue. And here's something that most people don't think about when they think about AI in filmmaking. It's not just for building scenes, it's also for moving between them. So traditionally, going from one location to the next means that you shoot filler B-roll or an exterior establishing shot, so a car driving, a sign, something to bridge the cut. I didn't have time or footage for any of that, so instead I used Firefly to build animated, stylized transitions directly from one scene into the next. Because the recap's whole tone is like fast, it's a little magical, almost animated storybook looking, those transitions were not just a workaround, they actually fit the tone better than a real establishing shot would have. The last technical fix, and this one's a bit smaller, but it's a real one and a valuable one. So my kitchen is great light, natural light when the sun is up, but I ran a really long shoot day and the sun started going down mid-scene and suddenly I had a huge continuity problem. It was the same scene, but 2 different lighting conditions and I didn't have time to reshoot the next day. So I used Firefly, specifically Nano Banana Pro, to correct and match the lighting across the footage so the scenes read as continuous, even though it wasn't shot that way. So that's the unglamorous but genuinely valuable use case, which is not like a flashy new world. It's just saving you a shoot day and a continuity error that would have otherwise required a full reshoot. So once everything was generated and assembled, the last step was actually packaging this episode for release. So thumbnails, title cards, the visual consistency that ties it back to the rest of the season. I built that piece in Adobe Express. It's the same thing that I showed you in episode 1. Same principles, keeping the front-facing presentation as polished as the actual production or better. So that's the real pipeline. In the next episode, I'm going to show you exactly how I marketed the Blaxpat and grew this thing with 0 ad spend. The trailers, the thumbnails, the campaign that got it in front of the bright eyes. So please subscribe so you don't miss it, and drop your questions below so I can cover it in the next episode. Thanks for watching, and see you for the final episode.